What's good? It's your boy Heck Rizzy, and today I want to talk about a serious topic. So it's time to get serious. You know, social media. If you haven't read the title, this is definitely a very deep topic. Can go multiple ways, but I'm gonna try to keep this as simple as possible, just so everyone's aware and it makes sense. You feel what I'm saying? So yeah, you know what I'm saying. Welcome back to the channel. Appreciate y'all for tuning in, and I just want to remind you guys that you know you are valued, you matter as an individual. You are appreciated, even though it may seem like you're not at times. Just remember that you are appreciated, you are loved, and yeah, man, let's get to it. Social media, man, like, where do I even start? I mean, I feel like anyone who was born in my time can truly see how social media has affected our society because they've lived with it and they've withstanded it at the same time. Like we're oh sevens and like you know what I'm saying, oh 07, oh 05, oh 04, oh 08. Like we all like we lived a time where social media wasn't as prominent as it is now. Like there were no reels, there was none of that. Um but when you look at it now, social media is mandatory. Like, you can't function in this society anymore without having a phone or having social media or any sort of, platform or, account. But what I will say is it has really done numbers on our society. I think it's definitely making us dumber and, it's making us addicted in a really bad way. You know, I can go on and on about like the ways it's affecting us. But I think World War III, so, is mental, right? Because I mean, there are just so many distractions. I can go on and on. There's so many distractions on social media that can drift you away from what you're supposed to be doing, drift you away from your peace. You know, suicide rates have gone up. People's energy levels have gone low. Men's testosterone, women's estrogen, all kinds of things have been disrupted. All kinds of things to take you away from what you've been put on this earth to do. You know what I'm saying? To live, love, laugh, and reproduce and create, procreate, on and so forth. And I feel like social media is getting in the way of that. We already have houses, cars, ways that can make us, make our lives easier, so we can live longer. But it gets to a point, you know what I'm saying? It gets to a point where people aren't thinking for themselves anymore and they're asking ChatGPT to make every decision in their lives. Or they're so, self conscious and they lack the self belief in themselves that, we should all have as human beings. I believe every human being should be confident in one's capabilities. And we shouldn't need the reassurance of a machine or social media, right? And yeah, man, this war is really mental because I'm telling you, you stay on social media enough, and it will convince you that you are a failure and that you should take your life, right? And even though you're far from those things, it is so easy to get hooked and to get lost in the social media realm when you should really be living in the present, the here, the now. You know, kind of like how you are watching this video, but you know, it's just good to be aware because I feel like the next generation is really gonna feel the effects of social media on a whole nother level. I mean, what they're doing it really well and it's working clearly because we've gone to a point where people are having identity crises. People don't even know who they are anymore, right? You lose yourself when you go on the sites and you're not fully aware. and you're not in control, it almost becomes like another drug, you know. So I highly recommend that you are very mindful of how much time you're spending on social media, and very mindful of, you know, the things that you watch, especially. I tend to focus a lot on things that value me, or, help me in my favor, right? Social media has a lot of bad to it, but don't get me wrong, there are a lot of ways you can benefit. Social media gives you knowledge, ChatGPT gives you knowledge. There's so many good ways to use it, but the fact that social media promotes a lot of, you know, pornography, a lot of lust, a lot of hate, a lot of depression, a lot of anxiety. It makes people feel like they're not good enough. It causes you to lose your confidence. There's a lot of bad, and we all know that bad outweighs good. So, um, be mindful. You can go on social media. I'm not saying don't go on social media. I highly recommend that you do spend time on social media, but with moderation. And please don't let it consume you, because when people are often consumed in social media, they make it their life and priority. They value, likes on a video, or, views or comments or things that people say to them that, may be disrespectful or harmful or hurtful or insensitive. And they let it get to them. They make it define their personality. It makes them define their self-worth. And I feel like if you go on social media and you feel like a piece of shit, because of the stuff that you're seeing, and it's causing you to feel like you're a loser and a failure at life, or you're behind, I suggest you take time off of social media and, value the real things like family, relationships, and nature. But yeah, on a serious note, that's all I wanted to say. And you know me, I like to keep it real. And YouTube is one of those places where I can really, talk my shit, because Instagram, it's short form content. So I appreciate you for watching. And if you're feeling generous, like the video if you approve of this message, and you agree. Um other other than that, I hope you enjoy the rest of your day, and I hope you stay blessed too. And remember that you matter and you are valued, and God has a plan.